Going on now. Thank you for joining us for episode 1 of Resource Connector. That's a Serenity Resource Connector. Whether you're joining us live or you're watching the replay on Facebook or YouTube, it is a pleasure to have you here. This is the first in a series of weekly broadcasts where we will be bringing representatives from the various government agencies and other service providers into one space to share the resources that are available and how they can be accessed. I am your host, Winsome Sharia Whittle. For the next 4 weeks, we will be talking opportunities for high school leavers. We start by looking at the sixth form integration program, career services support, and obtaining a birth certificate. To get the conversation going, we have with us Garfield King, Senior Education Officer, Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. And we should have joining us Dr. Lilith Tomlinson, the Vice President of University College of the Caribbean Academy. Also, Eslyn Palmer, Career Services Officer with the Heart NSTA Trust Region 6, and Natasha Francis, Parish Manager Officer for the Mapen Regional Office of the Registrar General Department. Thank you so much for joining. Going to give you some time to share the link with those that you know should be on, because we're talking opportunities for high school leavers. So go ahead and share that link. Thank you for joining, Odette. Go ahead and share the link so we can have others getting access to the information that we'll be sharing this afternoon. Once again, let me thank Garfield King from the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, Dr. Tomlinson from University College of the Caribbean, as well as Natasha Francis from the Registrar General's Department. And we should have Ms. Palmer joining us shortly from the Heart NSTA Trust Career Services Division. Hello, Andrea. I'm allowing a little more time for the others to join us, and then we'll get started because we know that our guests have a very busy schedule and we want to get things going so they can get back to taking care of all that needs to be done. All right. And we want to make this an engaging session. So if there are questions based on the areas that we're going to be covering, remember, we're going to be talking about the sixth form integration program, as well as we're hoping to have a discussion regarding career services at heart and the about birth certificate, accessing birth certificates. So you have your questions, jot them down, and we can put them in the chat so that our presenters can get you some responses. Thank you again. Thank you again for joining. And while the others make their way on, I'm going to go right ahead and remind you that we're going to be talking about opportunities for our high school leavers. And this is the first in a series of those conversations. And to look at the matter of the sixth form integration program, we have Garfield King, the Senior Education Officer with the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. Dr. King, please go ahead and talk to us about this sixth form integration program. What is it all about? What can we expect? And how soon?
All right. So, good afternoon to you
You're muted.
and to all your. Oh, sorry. Not hearing me? Hearing me?
Not hearing you.
I'm not muted and I'm not sure what's happening.
I'm hearing you.
Okay. I'm not muted, but Sizwita is not hearing me. All right. Nonetheless, I guess since
All right.
one person is
Check the microphone connection to make sure that you're using the. All right, let's see. I'm sure you're using your default microphone.
yes. Yes, still not hearing me? Still can't hear me? All right. Probably I should.
Well, you're all hearing him.
Yes, we are hearing
Sloman
you.
is hearing. Let me see what's happening here.
All right. So since
Okay, go right ahead.
okay. Since
Ma-
good
It's my
afternoon.
connection.
Okay. Good afternoon to you and to all those who are tuned in, and thanks for the opportunity to share so we can empower our students. Well, the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information has implemented a sixth form pathway program, and this program is a part of the K to 13 strategy. And in essence, the aim of the ministry is to ensure that students at the secondary level get 7 years of education. Now, we know traditionally students would graduate at grade 11, and a few, probably about 35% of each cohort, would go on to a sixth form program. And so that means the vast majority of the students would have uh, limited options. So what the ministry wants is for every child, every Jamaican child, to have an opportunity to do those 2 additional years of school, which would be in a sixth form program. And what we have done is to expand the sixth form program currently. It encompasses what currently exists, and there are far more options on the sixth form pathway program. And so when it comes to grade 11, there are pathways that students can enter. The traditional pathway remains, and students have an option to go into other paths based on their interests, based on their abilities, etc. Now, the high schools that we have in Jamaica, the almost 200 high schools, do not have the capacity to hold all the students that would be leaving grade 11, or to put them in a sixth form program. And so what the ministry has done is that we have partnered with tertiary institutions, public and private tertiary institutions, to allow students to those who can't be facilitated on their school campus where they're coming from, to continue on the sixth form program in another institution, public or private post-secondary institution. And the ministry will be paying for the students for those 2 years. So if I can just quickly project one, may I project one slide, share one slide? All right.
Go right ahead. It should be open.
Yes. All right. Great. So in essence, the structure of the sixth form pathway program, there will be three pathways, and on pathway one there are several options where students can, as they usually do in the regular the previously in sixth form, there's the option of doing CAPE or the CAPE Associate's degree. That's called pathway 1A. Then there is 1C, where they can do an occupational associate's degree or a regular associate's degree that's offered at our tertiary institutions. These associate's degree would be accredited by the CCCJ, Community Colleges of Jamaica, or the UCJ. And so students can choose to do these instead of doing the CAPE. Students can also do the City and Guilds Engineering Level 3, and there's the OAD in Hospitality and Tourism Management Program. There is also a pathway 2 for those students who are not interested in the pathway 1, or probably they have not matriculated to a pathway 1 program, where they get to do CVQ, NVQJ level 2 programs. And as well, there's a pathway 3 where students get to do City and Guilds, proficiency skills, math, etc. So in a nutshell, without taking up a lot of time, in a nutshell, this is what the pathway program entails. And so basically how it would operate is that students who are interested, high schools are mapped to to tertiary institutions that are within the vicinity of their high schools. And students can decide, they can choose to go on to sixth form if there's a space at their institution, or if not, all hope is not lost, because they can move on to one of these tertiary institutions and they can pursue something that is more in line with their interests, etc. So in a nutshell, that's what the sixth form pathway program is about. It's just ensuring that all Jamaican students, all approximately 40,000 each cohort, would have access to sixth form. And in essence, all our students will be doing 7 years of secondary education.
Okay. Well, when my 14 years old niece saw the headline yesterday, she was like, mandatory. Suppose I want to go straight to university. So how do you respond to her?
Well, the students are afforded that option, because usually there are some students with their CSEC results would matriculate to some programs, say at UTech or whatever institution. They can still go to those institutions and it will not be an issue. Those on the sixth form pathway program. So for example, if they decide to go to a community college, the government pays a certain amount, and we would still pay that amount, and the extra they would have to find on their own. So we're committed to paying the fees.
Slow down a little bit. Let's get that. So what you said about the government paying a part and then they pay the difference. So if they decide that they want to go into community college or university, that funds that was dedicated for the pathway program,
once that institution is partnering with the sixth form pathway program, then the funds will be made available.
Okay, but they have to be going to one of those partnering institutions, like the University College of the Caribbean that we have on this afternoon. Yes. All right. So now it's a good time to bring on, who do we have here with us now? The Dr. Tomlinson. Thank you so much for joining us. Are you hearing, Doc? Go ahead, Doc.
You're hearing me?
There you go. All right.
All right, great. So I'm delighted as well to be having this discussion at this time. As you know, it's back to school and everyone is in high gear looking forward, waiting on those results. Even without the results, they're excited to make their institution of choice. And when they make those decisions, we want University of the Commonwealth Caribbean to indeed be the institution of choice, because we know that we have so much to offer. Speaking on behalf of the academy, as well as by extension, the university, we are indeed happy to be partnering with the Ministry of Education, Youth and Culture in the Sixth Form Integration Program. This would indeed be our second year in the partnering. We started off last year with the ministry, and it has indeed been a very interesting experience. The ministry rep would have explained to you how you're able to become a part of the program. So as he said, the intent is to extend school life to make it almost mandatory for all students leaving, and they have a plethora of choices that they can make. Where UCC comes in is where you can either choose to do pathway 1, where you can either become part of our traditional program. So say, for example, you're completed 5th form and you'd like to do BizAd, information technology. You can participate by going enrolling in the K-13 program on the traditional side and get your associate degree. But let us say you do not want to do a traditional associate degree, but you'd like to do what we refer to as an occupational associate degree, be it in renewable energy, be it in logistics and supply chain management, construction site management, BPO, or allied health. And I've called the 5 that we currently offer here at the University of the Commonwealth Academy. If you are one of those persons who want to be involved in these cutting edge type of careers, because as you know, skills is the way to go based on this new fourth industrial revolution. It is the skills that are in demand, and I'm sure the partners will tell you that once a student leave with these skills, they are just being gobbled up just like that. People need skills, people, not just in Jamaica, but we're talking about making persons ready for the international market, the Caribbean, just making them ready with these skill set. So we currently offer those programs here at the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, and by extension, the University of the Commonwealth, if you want the traditional program. As you, just to let the students know and the partners here today, that all those programs are 2 years. And on completion, they would have gotten a certificate that is being approved. So it's really exciting time. I'm not sure how much time I have, and I sure would want to encroach on anybody else's time. But at the academy and at the university, we are all excited to be a part of this program and partnering with the Ministry of Education. So thank you so very much. I'll be right here along with the principal, just in case you have any further questions.
All right, fantastic. Don't worry, Doc, we will have you on. We have 4 weeks to go, and we are going to get as much information as we possibly can to ensure that our young people know of the options that are available and how they can access them. And with all the technology and all of that, we have to get into that conversation. But of course, you know, that's not this afternoon.
Yeah, because we can explain to them more about our modality and the distribution of our campuses.
Okay, awesome. All right. Before you made a great point there about the skills, and that is why we have this space where we're bringing all the resources together. Now you're seeing how it gels, because when you talk about skills, you're talking about heart. And that's why we have these different entities in one space where we can cover that. But before we go to heart, there's a question here. Well, a note here from Stephanie King Halstead, who's joining from, I'm taking this is the Ministry of National Security. She trusts that we will gain some much information for the at-risk youth whom we serve, as well as we transform mentors who support them. Was there anything in the discussions, Sir King, as it relates to this program that we're having, specifically for at-risk youth? Because I should share with you that this whole concept of the resource connector came out of a program that I coordinated through consultancy, through Serenity in Clarendon, where I recognized that this particular set, the at-risk youth, are at greater risk of being left behind because they need to have this kind of connection. The parents are not so sure what to do, how to navigate the space. So The King, any conversations in the ministry as it pertains specifically to at-risk youth?
Well, most definitely, we are with our partners. So, for example, we're about to pilot a program with the Caribbean Military Academy, and they have a program in which they target at-risk youth. And so we are bringing a sixth form pathway program through the Caribbean Military Academy, targeting these young people and any such partnerships, any organizations. And what we have done, because there's generally in the program, there is an age range where individuals can start between 16 and 18. However, there is room for some flexibility based on the nature of the young people that we are dealing with. And so all of this is in the pipeline as we partner with institutions who serve at-risk youth.
Fantastic. And based on where we're at now, strategic partnerships are the way to go. Right, because together each achieve more. Right, so that's fantastic. So I trust that put your mind at ease, Stephanie King Halstead. So there you have it. So if you know of other entities who are in a position to call the partner to provide greater resources for these young people, please spread the word so that they can get in on what is happening. Exciting times ahead indeed. All right. And at this point, let's bring Miss Palmer into the conversation.
Okay,
Miss Palmer.
thank you. Good evening to everyone on the panel.
For those of our high school, my question to you, for those of our high school leavers who are not so sure what they want to do next, because I've had that conversation with some, they're really not so sure. There are a lot of options out there. Some might be aware, some might not be so aware. How can the Career Services Division at Heart support these young people? Tell us about that.
Okay, the Career Services Division at Heart caters to all our clients. We play an underpinning role, a supportive role to all levels of trainees. And we have a wide demography. And as you know, our program extends from age 17 to 70 years. So we serve a wide cross-section of persons and different ages. And so our programs are so designed to help persons evaluate themselves, get an idea of where they would want to go. If they have not yet had a sense of direction, we do administer interest inventories and psychometric tests, diagnostic assessments, so they can have an assessment of where their academic level is. We also look at their industry readiness. We do have developmental evaluation tests that we involve them in. We have programs like seminars and workshops that would help them in developing industrial standards in terms of performance in skills as well as behavioral standards. So the Career Services Department plays a vital role in helping our trainees, to our applicants and our clients, and with whomever we come in contact with in our duties daily, because we take our duties to the community, not just in our office space, but to the communities. And our programs are so designed to help persons have peer evaluations, get a sense of direction, and make a decision. We don't just leave them like that, but we walk with them through the process. We do counseling along the way, because you're going to find that persons come with deficiencies in psychosocial skills, and we work with them throughout their training, and we ensure that they complete well, be successful, get certified, and move into the industries and help to actually realize their dreams or to see their careers unfolding. So in a nutshell, that's some of the things that we do in the Hard Trust Career Development Unit. We also help with assessment initially. you will find persons coming and not sure what they want to do. Some might not even want to do anything. And so we work on the motives. We help them to recognize that life has something more to offer and they have potential. There are goals, and so we have to dig deep to get the gold out. They have potential and there can be a change, and we work with them and try to see this change coming out. So we train academically because our programs are so designed to take them to different levels. We start with level 1 for some training, but more so level 2, level 3, up to level 5. And level 5 is equivalent to a degree. Level 3, a diploma. So we show them the different possibilities in terms of building a career and encourage them to make the step further. Every time they complete a stage, we work with them and encourage them to move into new stages. Of course, we have different modalities of training and certification. So you will find
before we get into that, we have a show specifically for that part. But what I really want is to lay the foundation in this first episode where persons know that they can, if they're not so sure, they can come to heart and they can get that kind of guidance, as you mentioned, in terms of working on the emotives, because teenage years, remember, some of us don't develop that rapidly as others. So we need that extra guidance and support. So we want them to know that that opportunity actually exists and they don't have to seek to do it by themselves or to be influenced by others. So that's what we want to focus on now. So for those who are joining now, who might be justices of the peace, might be leaders in their own right in their different space, sure, whether it's their youth group at church or in their communities, how can they support this initiative at heart in terms of directing persons to heart for this kind of support?
Okay, we are willing to come in and have dialogue. We spread the word. We want the word to be spread to the population, whatever population they're exposed to. Let them know that Heart has a program for everyone, and it doesn't matter what level you're at, because we take you from grade 1 to university.
All right, fantastic. All right, so remember, we are live and we're taking questions, concerns. This is a space to voice them so we can get some responses. We have with us Garfield King from the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. We have Dr. Lilith Tomlinson, the Vice President for the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean. Let me get that right. And we also have Esmond Palmer, the Career Services Officer from Heart NSTA Trust. And we're going to move shortly. Let's see this question. I am aware that level 3 is referred to as a diploma, but I am told that it is vocational diploma and is not equivalent to an academic diploma. Can you shed some light on this? I would love to hear too.
It is equivalent to a diploma,
Okay.
and our programs focus strongly on technical education, and we work on competence. You will find sometimes our students might not be very academically inclined, even though we work on the academics, especially the core academic subjects, math and English and life skills. All applicants to our program are exposed to those 3 areas, but we work on competence in whatever skill that they are exposed to. So we ensure that they are learning and they are actually be exposed to industrial standard. Our programs also has an experience component to it. So you find that you don't just do academics and your skill in the classroom, but we get you out there in companies to have work experience to build that aspect of the training.
Right. But
So
shed some light for us on the difference between the vocational diploma and the academic diploma. How?
the academic, based on my knowledge, I want to think that the academic diploma focused on by other institutions might put a stronger emphasis on academic learning in terms of theories and guidance theoretically with limited exposure to hands-on experience. But Heart is highly 90% hands-on. So persons,
Okay.
and you will find that sometimes our trainees will do excellently showcasing a skill, preparing a dish, doing a hairstyle, making a garment,
Indeed.
and might not be able to adequately explain how to put the garment together. However, we want them to learn languages of the field that they are in. So we put an emphasis on that too. But sometimes we find that they might be lacking in academic proficiency in terms of explaining what they have done.
Okay. So it is so this is clear then. The focus is on vocational. If they want purely academic, then Heart it's not necessarily the place for that. They might need to go to a UCC or another of the other academic-based institution. Right?
I want to make it clear that we are concerned about their academic development, and
Right.
we implement them to do math and English, IT, and life skills. Those are core skills. But sometimes I find that we have trainees who might come in not having a pass at CSEC in math or English. We do encourage them to move on to evening classes and do these subjects. As a matter of fact, one of our programs, the high school equivalency program, actually encourage persons after completing our levels to do CSEC, and we do offer CSEC math and English to that.
And we're going to talk about that next week. So, all right. So we're going to get into that next week in terms of the different institutions that offer the CSEC, because we want them to know that all of these options are available, where they can access it, how they can access it. So there are just so many different options, and we want to provide them with that guidance as to where and how. All right. So going back to the foundational stuff, because I became aware of two of our 17-year-olds who happen to be teenage parents who were interested in doing a program at Heart through one of the same programs that we're looking at, youth crime prevention with at-risk youth. And they were not able to access the services at Heart because they do not have a birth certificate. Some persons might be wondering, at 17 years old in 2021, but yes, that's what's happening around us. And that is part of the reason why we have this Serenity Resource Connector. Address some of these issues. The resources are there. So right now I'm going to invite Ms. Francis to share with us some of the reasons that these cases exist and how can we help these young people so that they can be able to access the different resources, because they can't do pretty much anything in terms of moving forward without a birth certificate.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Afternoon, everyone who's listening to us on our YouTube Live or Facebook channel. I am Nastasia Francis, the Parish Officer in charge of the Registrar General Department, Maypen Branch. Now, over the years, the RGD has stand committed to our customers and have gradually revised our application process. Despite having 9 regional offices and our head office location in Spanish Town, we still have persons who have not reached out to us in order to acquire their birth certificate. We have even expanded to the online platform. Since here, you can now correct your birth certificate, add your name, or add your father's particulars to your birth record without even coming into the office. You can download the application online, upload the application, even make payment. It is processed, and then a text message is sent to you just for pickup at your desired location. Now, over the years, the RGD has partnered with several stakeholders, such as JSIF, PAF, and Office of the Prime Ministers. What we have realized is that regardless of having the online platform, and our in-office applications, persons are still not coming out, especially those in the remote and vulnerable communities. So we took an outside-in approach where we go into the communities, we conduct outreaches, we accept applications and try to find as best as possible how we can help these persons. Under the JSIF initiative, we have assisted over 8,000 customers. And under the PATH initiative, it's so good to say that we have assisted more than 4,000 applicants. Now, what we would like is for more persons to reach out to us, more community leaders, citizens association, to develop groups in which they make contact with us from those in the rural areas and see how best the RGD can partner with them and assist these persons who are especially in the remote locations. At present, we have a partnership going on with JSIF, where since the COVID-19 pandemic, we have now been doing virtual outreaches. So what we have done is, as partnered with JSIF, JSIF set up the locations where they go to either the schools or other institutions. They would do the setup there, and we would have a virtual outreach where you provide us with information. We search for it immediately. Once located, the application is done. This is covered, the cost is covered completely by JSIF, and we will do the production of these certificates. Now, we do have customers, as you have said before, 17 years old, who does not have a birth certificate. Why? Can be many reasons. Either they weren't registered, or they're registered without a name, or some ad hoc situations, they're registered in the incorrect district. What we do is not leave these customers. When you come in and you apply for a search application, you are advised on the next step forward. So if it's a case where you're not registered, the process is explained to you, you're given the forms, and you're also advised what supporting documents are needed in order for the RGD to assist you in acquiring your birth certificate.
Wow.
A question here?
Please
Also,
put your questions in, but before you move on, I have a question. How can the community groups access this JSIF program that's ongoing?
All right, they can reach out to us either by telephone or by email at info.rgd.gov.jm, right? We now will arrange this with JSIF to advise that this community has reached out to us asking for assistance in acquiring the birth certificate. JSIF has to give the go-ahead. They are the field officers, and we basically facilitate the process. So JSIF would give the go-ahead for these outreaches to be held, and they will advise at the location and when it will be done. Same as advertised.
Fantastic, fantastic. There we have it. A lot of resources, a lot of options, because sometimes for some of our citizens, they do not have the funds to pay for it. So now we know that JSIF, and they don't have to go through JSIF, come directly to the RGD. It's info at RGD. Let's get that right. Info at rgd.gov.jm. Right. Info at rgd.gov.jm to make arrangements. So whether it's through your church group or your other community groups, you can reach out to get that support, get a group of people that needs to get the service together, and the cost will be taken care of. We're living in really good times.
Let me say though that you're not.
Go ahead.
Let me say though you're not automatically placed on the program. JSIF have their field officers where they assess the vulnerable communities and advise us where they would like us to facilitate the outreach virtually. Now, if there's a situation to which you would need the Registrar General's Department's assistance, that is when we will either internally or through our partners go ahead and assist you from either channel.
Okay, fantastic. All right. So there are specific communities that it's important that JSIF is working with, but irrespective of that, communication can be had with RGD for community outreach.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are different programs that's going on that can facilitate through the community groups in terms of supporting for the payment for that kind of service. Fantastic information. Awesome. So we're covering those who do not have birth certificate. Here you have it. Option for you to get your birth certificate so you can get enrolled in the HARD program. If you're not sure what exactly you want to do, you didn't really finish high school, you don't want to be sitting at home, you're not sure what to do, you can go to HART to get guidance with their career services. And then, of course, we have the sixth form pathway program, and we have a partnership with the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean between that entity and the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. All right, we are winding down nicely. So I'm going to invite on Sir King from the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. Any final thoughts to share regarding the sixth form pathway program or anything else right now as it relates to the ministry that we really need to?
So just to support or to continue on the point that was last made, because we know that there are some students who, for some reason, got disengaged from the school system, and the sixth form pathway program is also open to them. So if they dropped out of school, etc., once they are within that age band, then they can be a part of the program. They can be readmitted, and they will be assessed and placed on the appropriate pathway.
Repeat that age band for us.
All right. So normally, starting sixth form, the persons would be between 16 and 18 by August 31 of a particular school year that's about to start September 1. And however, if students have passed that age, the consideration can be given. The ministry can give approval for them. So we'll assess each individual. We'll do it on a case-by-case basis if they're outside of that age band. So people who are older or even people who are younger, less than 16, consideration can be given as we assess their circumstances.
Fantastic. That is great information to have. All right. So they can continue in that institution if they don't want to move on to that door with provided spaces are available, because of course
provided, or if not, they can go to another institution.
Okay. And it is usually recommended those within close proximity to their place of dwelling.
It is not binding though,
Okay.
We try to make it as easy as is possible for the students, considering travel, etc. However, suppose they want to pursue a program and none of the institutions within their proximity offer that program, they can be facilitated on the sixth form pathway program as well. So it's not that rigid. Considerations are given to individuals. We want to accommodate as many of our young people as possible and to make it as easy for them as possible to get the certification and to empower them.
That's what we're all about, empowering our young people, because each of us have to be a part of that change that we want to see. And that is why we have Serenity Resource Connect, bringing you all in this space so we can have this kind of joint up conversation. And at this time, I invite back on Dr. Tomlinson to share regarding the partnership and any intro to what the conversation we'll be looking to have next week. We're inviting you back on for next week to continue the conversation for the other programs.
Okay, let us see. All right, thank you very much. Just to add, as we said earlier on, the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, we are very flexible in our program, especially due to the pandemic. As you're all aware, all of our programs are currently online. For the courses, especially the skill areas that require a lot of practical, we have made a lot of facilitation. We have what we refer to as virtual labs. So the students are still exposed to some of the hands-on as best as possible. And virtual labs, for anybody who's in academic, know that that's one of the modality that a lot of the universities overseas have had to resort to during the pandemic. So UCC is very on top of what is happening, and we really want to engage our students. As our representative from HART would have said, these occupational associate degrees are very, very hands-on, which is why they are so much in demand. When the students get out there in the world of work, they are ready to go. So we're accessible from wherever you are. 14 parishes, doesn't matter. All you need to do is just register. And I say to anyone who is listening or connected to the students, please implore them, do not wait until the results is out to register. Register now, and then as soon as you have received your certificates, results from HART, results from CXC, well, maybe from HART as well, because if they have the level 2, we also take them. Yeah, I'm on the right track.
Indeed.
Yes, if they have their level 2, they will take them as well. So as soon as, don't wait on those results. As soon as you leave this program and you engage someone, let them register. They go to UCC online and they'll be able to register. Everything is online, so they're able to do so. Wherever in Jamaica they are, they can register. Now, if they're not a 2021 graduate, I know that the MOE representative would have mentioned some exceptions, which the ministry will approve. But generally speaking, if they're not a 2021 graduate, which would make them eligible for the scholarship this year, then our tuition fee is $90,000 for the occupational associate degree. And then if if they want to do the academic programs now, then it would be, this tuition fees are $150,000. So we would subtract the $80,000 from that, and they would pay the $70,000, which I think is quite reasonable, because there's nowhere else that you can get an associate degree for that price. So just encourage them to register. Don't sit at home and wait. Register now.
Awesome. Fantastic. And let me take this opportunity to acknowledge Mrs. Katura Holmes, who is the Regional Recruitment Advisor for the Mapen campus, is with us. All right. Thanks for joining, Mrs. Holmes, and thank you for answering the call. We have been in dialogue for a little while, and I'm happy to provide this kind of avenue where we can share the wider cross-section of our young people. Right. Final words from Miss Palmer.
Okay.
2
HART
minutes.
I want to say that HART is a stepping stone to a great career. You'll just be surprised the many options you have when you come to HART. So let me invite you to go online, www.training.heart-nta.org, and explore our programs you can apply, or if you so desire, come into one of our offices. We will be more than ready to assist you.
Fantastic. And all these entities that you see here, we'll be having even greater and deeper conversations going forward, because there are just a myriad of services that they do offer, and we want to ensure that you're aware of them all. All right. Even if we have to go beyond the 4 segments, but just remember, we need some sponsorship to keep it going. So finally from Miss Francis, RGD, talk to us.
Was not hearing you clearly. Can you go ahead, please?
All right. 2 minutes to leave with us. Your final thoughts.
All right, the RGD, apart from you coming in, we take an outside-in approach to our customers. We go out to you, we reach out to you and see how best we can assist you. Now, if you're having any channel challenges, please feel free to contact us. You can contact us by email or by telephone. We're here to serve you. It's our mandate to get you registered and safekeep your records. Looking forward to next week.
Fantastic. Oh, fantastic. All right. So there you have it. The first episode of the Serenity Resource Connector. And we had conversations with the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, the HART NSTA, and the Registrar General's Department. And they're spread all across, even though we have representatives from Maypen in Clarendon, we have representatives from St. Catherine, and we have representative VP Dr. Tomlinson from the Kingston location. That's where you're based. There you have it, right? So even though we have specific offices, services can be accessed across the island. So we want to make that clear. And we'll be continuing the conversation next week, Thursday, same time, same place, as we continue to look at the other services that are available and to tell you how you can access it. But in the meantime, for this, we had so much information being shared. Ensure you share the link with your community group, your church group, call together a session in your communities, share the link, sit and watch it together, have discussions, come back next week with any questions you have so that we can clear it up for you as we empower our young people to move forward. Thank you so much, Garfield King, Dr. Tomlinson, Miss Francis, and Miss Palmer, and also Mrs. Holmes, who is right there in the background with us. Thank you so much for those who joined us live and for those who will be watching this delayed. Thank you for being here and just continue to help to improve lives, change lives, improve our communities and our nations. Thank you. Have a great one and continue to stay safe.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Nice.
Welcome.
Nice
Okay.
meeting everyone.
Thanks.
Right. Awesome.
Good evening.